Okay, so weird things are continuing to happen in Turkish politics. Not that Turkish politics isn't inherently weird, but bear with me here. A little while ago, we did a video about President Erdoğan, the famously opposition-averse president of Turkey, meeting with opposition party head. If you want to see that video, it should be appearing somewhere on the screen right now, but also these things never work, so yeah, YouTube. Anyway, the Cliff Notes version is Erdoğan has been in charge in Turkey for over 20 years. The ruling coalition led by Erdoğan's party AKP has pretty much cleaned house in every single election since its creation in 2001 and has always been the number one party, as it is called in Turkey. Except in the last election, the main opposition party pulled a Rocky and came in first place at 37% of the vote, gaining a plurality for the first time since 1977. So, after 2 decades of AKP and Erdoğan hegemony in Turkish politics, it appears that things are changing. The first indicator of winds of change was when Erdoğan actually invited the opposition leader Özgür Özel for a sit-down where they discussed a whole host of issues, but the main theme of the meeting was basically Özel urging Erdoğan to follow the constitution and Erdoğan replying, "No thanks, how about an entirely new constitution instead?" Well, this week Erdoğan did something he hadn't done in 18 years and paid a reciprocal visit to CHP headquarters and sat down with party boss Özgür Özel one more time. Now this is happening a little while after Erdoğan declared a détente, meaning maybe we won't be so mean to the opposition anymore. But is détente really the right word? Well, who better to ask than Medyascope politics extraordinaire, Edgar Şar.
In order to make sense of what's really going on, we should first understand the differences in approach. Whereas President Erdoğan and the ruling bloc calls this a period of détente in politics, Turkish opposition calls this process normalization. Well, anyone can ask the question, what is not normal about a president and the leader of the opposition, meeting and talking about the issues facing the country?
Well, yeah, what is not normal about two national level leaders sitting down? Well, because Turkey. Parties just don't talk to each other. As a matter of fact, former CHP boss Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, who in 13 years at the helm, not once met with President Erdoğan, which is not crazy because unless they had a secret bromance unbeknownst to the public, they really did not like each other, like on a personal level. Anyway, so positive development, great, but you also have to ask, Turkish politics is so incredibly polarized and divided that parties don't even talk to each other, so what's the point? What could they possibly have to agree on? What could either party even hope to gain from these talks?
First of all, the CHP and its leader Özgür Özel wants to show that his party took over the responsibility of being the new largest political force in the country, being able to talk to all relevant actors about Turkey without any prejudice, without any red lines. And this also gives him the possibility to enjoy a legitimacy that CHP has never enjoyed before, because now he can show up in the pro-government media and after all, making President Erdoğan visit the CHP headquarters after 18 years is quite a remarkable way of projecting power. However, the big gap between the long-term objectives is still there. And I think this is what really matters. The long-term objective of President Erdoğan is to stay in power. Whereas for CHP, the long-term objective is to consolidate its position as the largest political force and to eventually come to power.
Now, you might be asking yourself, wait, what do you mean stay in power? Isn't Erdoğan already serving his second term? And as president, you can only be elected twice, even though he's actually serving his third term, but claimed that the first one didn't count because the constitution was changed during his first term in office, so he got to go again, and therefore now he's currently serving his last term. So what do you mean stay in power? First, I would respond with, you are weirdly well versed in Turkish politics, and second, yes. This is theoretically Erdoğan's final term. By the next election cycle, he will have been in power for 26 years, and in order to go for gold and make it 31, he would need to change the constitution again. But of course, he needs 2/3 parliamentary majority in order to do that, and majority goes through one man and one man alone, and that is Özgür Özel. And let's be honest, that's kind of a tough sell to a guy whose literal life mission is to get you out of office. Like as a chosen profession, to get you out of office. Very puzzling. Edgar?
If President Erdoğan is after a constitutional change that would guarantee for him to run once again for president in 2028, CHP does not have any interest in giving him the support that he desperately needs for this constitutional amendment. So maybe President Erdoğan is just thinking that by meeting with Özel, he is just preventing the CHP from making a tough opposition. Also take into consideration that CHP has always the possibility to go back to what we can call a tough opposition anytime he wants, which we have seen for the past month, for example. On the one hand, Özgür Özel is meeting with the president for the second time now. He is also organizing issue-based rallies around the country where he makes the tough opposition when it comes to Turkish economy.
And there's your keyword right there, the economy. Well, a fact about Turkey. In Turkey, the economy is bad. Like really, really bad. Inflation was reported at 75% by the government last month, much higher by independent institutions. The lira has lost about 96% of its value since 2007. There is a major housing crisis, a major debt crisis, both at a micro and a macroeconomic scale. And look, you get it, everything is on fire. And when you've been the de facto ruler of a country for the last 2 decades, hey, let's be honest, you're kind of stuck holding the bag on that one. So whether the president does or doesn't have machinations about running again in 2028, he better do something about this whole economy thing. But not to worry, because Erdoğan has already appointed Mehmet Şimşek as his economy czar, who in the past presided over a massive economic expansion, later quit, and now has been brought back into the ring. But what does that have to do with Özel meeting with Erdoğan? Edgar.
I think the biggest priority for President Erdoğan when it comes to economy is to create a convenient image for the minister Mehmet Şimşek, who has been long out there looking for money, And I think what CHP and its leader Özgür Özel calls normalization is to some extent something that should be desperately done in order to create the image for the global investors and other actors who can really respond positively to the demands of Minister Şimşek.
So yeah, I don't know if you caught that one. Minister Şimşek has been in office for a little over a year now, and he really hasn't fixed Turkey's inflation crisis at all. That's because, by all accounts, he isn't actually here to fix the economy. He's here to find the money. In the last couple of years, thanks to Erdoğan's unorthodox economic policies, the central bank is broke, the deficit is out of this world, and nobody can do business because, well, all of the things I just said. So in order for Turkey to lick this one, it needs foreign capital. And that's where Şimşek comes in, because he is the money guy. But it's quite dubious that any billionaire investor who hasn't completely lost their minds on rocket fuel fumes and lithium dust would actually invest in a country where the political climate is so incredibly hostile that the opposition and the ruling coalition don't even acknowledge each other's existence. Well, it looks like both Erdoğan and Özel have been able to at least acknowledge that the economy needs fixing, and it really doesn't matter who does it at this point. Edgar?
In order for him to fix the economy, for the people to feel that the economy is fixed, there is plenty of time as well. And I think one of the prominent short-term goals of President Erdoğan to meet with CHP leader is to prevent the opposition figures and opposition actors to make a tough opposition during this period. Because as far as the economy is concerned, there is a very big opportunity for the opposition parties to make a very tough opposition.
Anyway, so that's what's going on in Turkey this week. As per usual, it is very, very confusing and weird and vague. But we'll continue these updates so long as there's a story worth reporting on. And yeah, that's it from us. How are you? How are you doing? How's your day going? Are you eating well?